Deep in the boreal forest lies a remarkable relic from the last ice age. Violent natural forces left a striking scar on the land, but the Devil's Crater does not reveal itself willingly. A remote forestry road is the first step in gaining access. The second piece is to travel against the current up the rapid-strewn Gull River. Third is the rugged, seldom-traveled Pantagruel Creek. And last, the site is fenced in by a canyon and towering cliffs. My goal was to reach it over the next 7 days. I'd also attempt a method of river travel seldom used by modern paddlers, hoping it might make the going a little easier. With a name like Devil's Crater, I expected a slog, and I would witness the devil's work on this trip, a thing I've always feared in a remote spot, and a shocking act of malice from my fellow man. But far from demonic, my trip begins at a heavenly spot known to locals as Mermaid Falls.
Well, this is quite a start to this trip. Up until 20 minutes ago, I had no idea what the spot looked like, except for what I could see on satellite. It looked like a big rapid. Beautiful waterfall. Not much information out there online about this area, the destination I have in mind. It's gonna be an adventure. I also know very little about my method of travel. I'm gonna be trying poling on this trip. You can go upriver by pushing off the bottom of the river with a long pole. I just got this, it's alder, which is not great quality wood, but I just wanted something to try. Maybe I'll find something better at camp tonight. So I've literally never tried this before. This pole feels pretty heavy, and I feel like there's a good chance I'm gonna go flying into the river and get soaked. Make sure I don't go down the waterfall too. It would have been better to practice on some flat water first, but it starts out with this rapid right away, and it's actually intuitive enough. Being a lanky fellow, I still think my center of gravity might take me down, but I'm not hating it. Okay, just get the smallest bit of moving water, but it's okay. Get myself in this little eddy ahead. Yeah, I don't think I could possibly pull up this. It's too shallow. So, get my dry pants on. I'll wade up this one. I can definitely see the merit to this. It's going to take some practice. I'll get up this rapid, it goes around the corner, and I'm hoping to find camp before too long because it's late in the season and the days just aren't that long anymore. On to the next one. One advantage of poling I can see is that if the rocks are very slippery like this, not a concern. Oh! Ah! Third rapid. There happens to be a good stick hung up here. It might be too skinny, but I'll take it to camp and see what I think. And that could be some incredibly good luck. This is pretty much just what I had in mind. Based on my satellite scout at home, that should be the last rapid today. So flat water ahead and hopefully some decent spots to camp. There's a small beach here with some moose tracks, but it's not all that charming, so I'll carry on. Sun's busting through, and maybe an option to camp here. Just pulled up to this bouldery little shoreline, and this is gonna be Camp 1. Not a bad start. Good sunset view, sunrise view, and good spruce to perch the hammock up there. Some rock to cook on. Not bad. Looking forward to giving this a try tomorrow. Feels like it's just about right. Sturdy enough, though, I think. We'll find out. Brought in a couple cocktails for tonight. This is a pina colada. Cheers.
Yeah, some nice spruce to hang off of here. Nice view of the river. Looking good here. Tarp is loosely pitched just in case some rain comes along. Time for food. Had some leftover pad thai that needed to be eaten up, and I didn't want to pan fry it and get it all oily. Can't put it directly in the pot without water, and that would make it like a soup. So here's my backcountry microwave. Should do it. It's nice and hot. Not stuck to the bottom at all. Good thing the tarp was up. We're halfway up anyway. This rain is coming on just as I was finishing up dinner. Oh yeah, here it comes. Whew. While the rain fizzles out, let's have a look at the map. I started just over here, just off the map, and camped around there. Got 6 more rapids tomorrow to get to Pantagruel Creek. These are noted as canoe routes, but that is generous at this point in time. They're very lost canoe routes, I would say. Looks like maybe it'll clear up for sunset. Beautiful here right now. And in addition to being a microwave, a nice large pan will keep your fire protected during a quick rain shower. All saddled up here in the hammock. Had just enough daylight to get everything done. I want to raise a toast with my second beverage to Jane Goodall, who passed last week. Devoted her life to conservation. She's a big inspiration. Cheers to her. As I drifted off, my thoughts were on the crater. However, Devil's Crater is a bit of a misnomer. It's not actually an impact crater from a meteorite, it just has a similar shape. About 9,000 years ago, much of Canada and many of the northern states were covered by ice up to 3 kilometers thick. The weight of it shaped and scraped the land, and even as it melted, it continued to sculpt the landscape. Torrents of meltwater carved through the land and created many new features, including the Devil's Crater. Now, only a small creek flows through it, but back then the current was so violent that it dug a crater out of the Canadian Shield bedrock. It would have been quite a sight then, and I was sure it would still be worth the trip today. Wow, that was a nasty morning. It was driving rain, really strong winds, and it's fresh. I had to wait for the sun to come over the trees to get out of the hammock. Just had a delicious coffee and on to the main course, BLT. Well, I've lingered as long as I can here. High today is 7 degrees Celsius. 6 rapids ahead until I get to Pantagruel Creek, and maybe one more to get into Pantagruel Lake. So it's going to be a tougher day. Strong headwind too. Okay, yeah, this pole immediately feels a lot better. Get a little practice here while it's flat water. Arrived at the first rapid of the day, which at these water levels is more of a swift. Seems like a perfect place to try this out. I don't know if this is right, but I have my back foot braced against the seat and my feet spread and staggered forward and sideways. It feels natural anyway. Current is pretty strong and there's a strong headwind too, so I am not
really making progress at the moment. And if I were to hit a rock right now, I would probably fall right into the river. If I didn't see it coming, yeah, I'm losing ground. You can also use this as a bit of a kayak paddle when needed. But with the current and the headwind combined, back to getting in the water. I think the bow of the canoe is too heavily loaded there, so I'm moving the barrel back here to the stern. It was kind of weather vaning because I think the heavier end wants to spin around. Let's see if that helps. To be honest, I kind of just like to wade this because I suck at it, but I want to give it a proper try. I think that is a bit better with the barrel in the back, but it's also cold and I really don't want to fall into the river. When you get a good push, you can move pretty well. Can't give up on a new skill too fast here. It's never going to be easy if there's any skill to it. Uh-oh. I'm definitely not ready for a strong current, that's for sure. And my arms are getting pretty tired. I'm going to take a little break and wade. That was better though. This rapid goes for a little ways. Pretty beautiful stretch here though. Bit of a slog getting up here, but quite beautiful. That ridge is looking amazing with fall colors. Been the odd sprinkle this morning, finally getting it. Rain didn't last, thankfully. Scenery is getting better and better here. Perfect place to stop for lunch too. Moose tracks at every beach. Okay, see if I can make it up swift water. No, no, absolutely not. Oh, thank goodness I didn't just go in. I'd be freezing. Just got to the second last rapid before Pantagruel Creek. Looks like it's been a really long one. Goes as far as I can see, and based on my pre-scout, I think it goes way further than that. I was hoping to make it to Pantagruel Lake today, but I'm not sure that's realistic. We'll see what I can do. Yeah, this one keeps going and going. Rain's on and off, and it's going down to -2 tonight, so I don't want to push it in terms of picking a good camp. So if something comes up, I'll probably take it. This might be the last piece of it. Oh yeah, that should be it until Pantagruel Creek. Actually, that pretty much takes me to Pantagruel Creek. I'm right around there, heading west now, and I'm hoping to camp around here. Did a satellite scout at home and thought I saw maybe a bit of rock there to camp on. On to the creek. If it's straightforward travel, I'll get to the lake no problem. We'll see. About 10 minutes into the creek, saw a moose just over there. It was in shadow when I was checking it out, and I thought it was an upturned root mat from a tree toppling over. Also at the start of some rapids, looks like they'll be wadeable, and I'm outside of Gull River Provincial Park now, so take a look from the air. Gonna be another good bit of wading, but looks like it'll be straightforward enough. Much easier going here. On the Gull River, the rocks were like greased bowling balls. Here they're not so slippery and not as much flow. Well, late in the season, there's not a lot of water in here. So I'm taking the barrel to just walk it up, and the canoe will be lighter to slide over the rocks. I'm gonna ditch the pole here. Pretty sure I won't need it the rest of the way. Pretty little spot. Just got over the little waterfall ledge, and this is the best campsite option that I've seen so far. Right above it. Don't see even a sign of a fire pit, surprisingly. And it's tempting to stay here, but there's just one more little wading section here, which I'd prefer not to do in the morning with -2 overnight. So I'll just get it done and hope there's something else. Hopefully I don't regret it. Home stretch to Penscrow Lake. Slippery here. Made it. Nothing but thick bush to the shoreline so far. Lots of beaver lodges today. Nothing yet. Not much daylight left either. Coming up to the place that I noted in the pre-scout. Looked like there might have been some rock. Doesn't look too promising. Nope. Well, I might have to check it out anyway. It does have a little space to land here, which has been a rarity. Wow. Evidently, other humans have had the same thought. Like an oil drum, an old boat, fishing net. Huh. Might have been an old trapper's cabin. Yeah, looks like it. Not much left of it. Old fridge. But it does have a place to land my boat and a nice cleared area in here. Might have to do. Just a little further down, there's a reasonably charming open spot here. So I think this will do. I'll bring the boat over here, and it's most importantly gonna have morning sun. I'm gonna need it. Yeah, this camp will work out pretty well. Getting chilled already though. First priority, dry clothes and socks. My dry pants are actually, they're leaking. So that's wet feet. I actually knew that going into this trip, but still it's better than nothing. I figured decent options for camping might be scarce on this trip. So I brought the tent and hammock to maximize the possibilities. And the tent is the winner tonight because I'll lose less heat from the ground, which is not that cold yet, compared to the cold air. All set up here, turned into a pretty good camp. Tarps pitched just in case and to dry it out. Various things drying, water filter, which I'll have to sleep with tonight so it doesn't freeze. And dinner on the way. Today was a bit of a slog, but it makes it that much more rewarding when you get there. I think there's a bit of a slog left to get to the crater, but it's within reach. I swear they're doing laps. Come around every 20 minutes. Even though it was a bit of a tougher day, physically, still lots of beautiful scenes, cliffs and ridges, and closing it out with a supermoon. Some planets have many moons, some have none. I'm glad we have one. It's one of those things we take for granted, but it's quite a spectacle. Sun's just climbing over the trees for day 3. That feels good. I already got a coffee in me, and it wasn't too bad of a night actually. It felt colder the first night. Got bacon and eggs this morning, and then I'll be hitting the water shortly after that, either to stay on Pantagruel and explore this lake, which I want to do, or carry on and do Pantagruel on the way back. Can't make up my mind. So I decided that I'm going to spend today on Pantagruel Lake. I've already got this nice camp set up here, and it's very calm today, so it's a perfect day to be on the lake. And I'll head to the crater first thing tomorrow. So I'm camped there, just outside the continuation of the creek. And yeah, today I'll check out the lake. And then I think I have about 10 kilometers to the crater tomorrow. Yeah, I'm glad I stayed put today. It is glass and so nice out here. And try a little fishing today too. Thought there might be some walleye in here. Sure enough. Coming up to the north end of the lake now, and on satellite it looked like it was a huge log jam, or maybe an area of a wooded area that a beaver dammed up and caused all the trees to die, but anyway, wanted to have a look. This is some beautiful country. You could disappear into these woods and no one would ever know. Looks to me like a beaver dam or just a big log jam flooded that wooded area and killed all the trees. That's why they're all dead there. Back to camp. Non-calzones tonight with bacon, onion, sriracha, and cheddar. And one of them has some leftover Boursin cheese from day number 1. Wow. That was a peaceful day, but can't wait to get going tomorrow morning. Get to the crater. Gonna ride out the evening reading Death on the Barrens, which is excellent so far. It's a tragic and epic story of a giant canoe trip to the Canadian subarctic. 6 Americans, including Arthur Moffat, whose name some of you may know, and it's pretty powerful.
falafel wraps to start off day 4. Spinach, tomato, spicy mayo, and crispy onion bits. I don't know how it's day 4 already, but it is, and it's time to get to the crater. The sun's just coming over the trees, and that'll warm things up to get on the water. It's just about freezing this morning again. I love when the morning sun bounces off the water into the woods like sparkling jewels. On my way with the sun on my left, the moon on my right with its craters, and dead ahead of me is one of Earth's craters. Tamaracks seem to have turned gold and yellow over the last couple nights. Always a sign that winter's on the way. Into the creek. I love these tamaracks. They grow well in wet conditions like this, and because they turn golden much later than other tree species, they call it the golden encore. The creek thankfully has enough water, but these small creeks can easily get log jammed. I've seen many beavers on this trip. First beaver dam I've come across though. Small inconvenience to keep the creek navigable. The first kilometer or so of the creek was good, and then it became slow going. But it looks good ahead after the beaver dam. Another small one. It's getting pretty narrow. Some old cuts on those trees. And another beaver dam. So the creek starts to get rocky here, and on satellite I could see some small rapids, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to wade the boat up, and I have no idea where portages are on this stretch if they exist. So, we'll figure it out. Spent a good 20 or even 30 minutes on this one, moving boulders and cutting the wood and alder to make a clear channel here to wade up. I probably should have just carried over the rocks because this day is slipping away, but I know the next person's going to appreciate this because that person's going to be me in a couple of days. And repeat. I think this one's going to have to be a portage. Gonna have a look here, make sure this is reasonable. The boulders are just awkward. It looks alright. Yeah, it's not too bad. Gets log jammed along the shore, so I have to go inland, or it's a tangle. Thought I'd be getting to the crater today, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But there is a clear section of the creek, a lake-like section, coming up for about 3 kilometers. Alone out here, gotta be so careful. These boulders, some of them shift, so just nice and slow. Over here there's a side flow, probably full of water and high water, and it serves pretty well as a trail after being cleared out. Probably advisable to do this route in higher water, where portages like this might not be necessary. But the bugs would be really bad, so pros and cons. Oh yeah, another one down. All right, finally some open water to paddle. It's pretty beautiful in here. Just saw a merlin perched in a dead tree. There are a tiny falcon, and there's a steady flow of ducks flying off ahead of me too. Getting close to the end of this section. The open stretch is divided by this little rocky shallow section, and I was clearing out the sweepers here and saw this cedar grove that just looks like a perfect campsite. This is the best I've seen on the whole route so far, and I wish I could stop here, but I'm gonna make every kilometer I can today. Whoa! Whoa! Adolescent swan. Obviously can't fly yet. I'm trying to go as far away as I can, but he's right in the way. I can't believe it can't fly yet. It's gonna be freeze up in 4 weeks. On to the next. So I just took the barrel down to lighten the load for pulling the canoe up this shallow section, and then I realized this is one of the 2 portages marked on the map. I just scouted it for 15 minutes, and there's like a vague trail, but I can't see one blaze flag or cut log with a saw, so I'm gonna have a look from the air and see which is the lesser of 2 evils. So the creek is long and bony. Wading is not a good idea. I'm gonna bulldoze the first load through, do a little clearing on the way back so that the canoe is manageable, and hopefully get there with a decent amount of daylight left. I think I'll have to set up camp on the next lake-like section. Change of plans. I was just packing up, and this just does not look appealing. Like, this is what I'd be going through. It does clear up a little bit, but it's still not great. I'm going to go back about a mile to that cedar grove, set up a great camp there, paddle back here first thing in the morning, and then just bushwhack it on foot with a pack to the crater, rather than trying to get all my stuff through, because I think, based on limited information I could find, that it's going to be pretty hard to get a canoe through there alone. So I think that's for the best. So this is going to be a great camp, just getting it cleaned up a bit, which is giving me tons of stick fuel, bone dry. There is one little creepy thing here. There are some big, beautiful cedars here, especially this cluster. But right underneath them is a perfect cavity, a sizable one too, for an animal to live in. Got my bear spray. And undoubtedly, animals have lived in there. Is there anything in there right now is the question. Brought my headlamp. Wow. Yeah, it's a big cavity. And as far as I can see back there, it's empty. So that's good. If it were occupied right now, I think there would be some scat at least around it. Maybe animal bones. Could just be a mansion for a red squirrel right now. Let's hope so. There go the swans doing their laps. Now this is a sweet hang. Oh, yeah. Bit of a view down the creek too. With that done, time for dinner. I'm ravenous. And the fire's also getting rid of the black flies, which were not numerous, but always just trying to fly right into your ears or your eyeballs. It's a relief. There's a big hole in my gut and it needed some grease, so I fried up a big cheesy oniony black burrito bowl. The hole in my gut has been filled, but by a ball of lead, so I'm flushing out the pipes with a scalding hot mint tea. That was delicious. I needed it. That was a big day, even though I didn't get that like 10 or whatever it was kilometers. Not that far, but it doesn't matter in country like this. Anyway, should get there tomorrow fine. One more check for my peace of mind. No eyes staring back at me. Perfect. When you kick up your feet after a long day, it just feels tingly, endorphins flow. Feels great. Back to my book. This book is randomly full of beautiful illustrations. Alright, day 5, finally time to get to the crater, hopefully. Everything has gone slower than I imagined, so hopefully today is a bit better. So I'm trying to pack as light as possible for this bushwhack, but just in case things went wrong and I had to spend the night, I do have my SATCOM messenger with an SOS button, but sometimes it helps search and rescue a lot if you're able to spend the night. So I've got my fly to the tent as like a makeshift tarp, a pretty sizable bag of chocolate almonds, which has a good number of calories, 2 bars, a small pot, first aid kit, and 2 warm sweaters and a rain jacket. So I could build a big fire beside the tarp and it'd be alright. So I'm camped around there. I'll just paddle back here, do that portage about a kilometer, and then I'll probably come around this side of this lake, which is a bit longer, but over here there's a creek crossing and a big wetland that I can see on satellite, so I think this side will be easier. Should be about 4 kilometers each way, so I gotta get going. Leaving camp, and I've got to be back in 9 hours, because it'll be dark then. Alright, cached the canoe there. Hopefully see it in 6 hours or so. I haven't done a long hike or bushwhack like this. I can't even remember the last time. But I'm used to portaging heavy loads, so it should be fine. There are sections like this where you can kind of make out a faint trail that may be kept up by animals at this point, but most of it so far looks more like this. It's getting a bit tangly down there by the creek. I'm gonna head up on this ridge, see if it's clearer. Yeah, it's a bit better up here. Windy day. Would not have been a great day for canoeing. It was getting pretty tangly up there too, so I'm heading back down to see if I can pick up any pieces of the trail. Well, that didn't work out. Guess I'm going back up. Birch bark, anyone? The lifetime supply in these woods. The lake is coming into view. That's the first leg down. Ended up taking me 1.5 kilometers and almost an hour. So that's not good. I'm gonna have to pick up the pace somehow. If I stay on this side, I'll run into a wetland and a creek crossing. So the creek is pretty easy to cross right here, so I'll do that. And the woods look better on this side too. Bit of a bridge here. If I can have semi-dry feet for the day, that would be nice. Great. It was a blessing in disguise that things worked out the way they did, because if I had started portaging through there and gotten a few hundred meters in, I would have been just like, I've come this far, I might as well just keep going. And it would have gone on forever. So this is the way to do it. If it was high water and I could have waited this whole thing, that'd be a game changer, but that's not the scenario. Not a bad situation here, just to walk through the shrubs. Better than in there. It opens up in sections, which is nice, because it is a thick tangle. Look at the thorns on that guy. Close to the end of the lake now, and there is a beautiful rock outcrop here. I'll be shocked if there's not some kind of campsite on it. It'd be a real gem. Yep, there it is. Little disused fire pit. Oh, this is quite a spot. Not much in the way of tent pads, but not a problem for a hammocker. This would be beautiful right here. So if I'd stuck on the other shore, I'd have to cross the creek in the wetland there, so that worked out well. That doesn't look too fun. And now I've got to cut through the woods over to the creek again, which is gonna be a tougher part, I think. That was about a mile, and I got about another mile to go. These markups on the map are things that I marked from my satellite scout. This is starting to feel a little insane. Okay. Oh wow. This is already getting scenic. Look at that. That is beautiful. Just when I was starting to think this might not be worth it, that was the morale boost I needed. Let's take a quick break here and have a bar. Oh my goodness. It looks breathtaking ahead, but equally rugged and intimidating to travel through. Uh-oh, like that section ahead looks like a dream for the canoe, but anyway, I'll do what I can. I think if I get halfway through the day and I'm not there yet, like I have to turn around, so see what I can do. I've still got, like 6 hours of daylight left. I'm gonna try and get higher up. I'm gonna have to. There's a grouse down there. Good country when you have wings. Tough on foot. I'm worried I'm gonna get cliffed out, or if there's a valley running this way, it could cut me off. Oh boy, I don't know. Yeah, valleys like this that are almost vertical, not marked on the topo at all. Canada's a big country. The topos are far from that detailed. Beautiful though. So about 2:30 is my cutoff time. That gives me 70 minutes left. I'm so close, like a kilometer. But it's unrelenting here. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. It's too bad there's not a clearing, because it'd be a spectacular lookout. The other thing is, the no canoe approach may have backfired also. It would have made this whole stretch and the lake, 30 times faster and easier. And I don't know if I'll be able to descend to the crater. So I might have screwed up everything. Finally getting through to a clearing with a lookout. Oh my god. No way. No way. Oh my goodness, look at this spire of rock here. This is terrifying. That is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I've just been standing here for 15 minutes in awe. This is literally breathtaking. If you had told me going into the trip that I wouldn't make it to the crater, I'd have thought that was a huge disappointment. But this perspective, I just can't imagine it being better. I don't have time to continue, but I just had enough time to get here, so I'm grateful for that. And it gives me a reason to potentially come back someday, by canoe, do the whole thing, not try and take this shortcut. Like Token says, shortcuts make long delays. Just imagine 10,000 years ago, massive ice sheet up to 3 kilometers thick, covering almost all of Canada and much of the northern states, that melts and creates torrents of meltwater that come carving out the land, even through Canadian Shield bedrock like this. And my understanding, the theory is that there was a plunge pool here, I guess a big waterfall that just carved that out. What a scene.
just made a harrowing drone flight. The wind picked up like crazy through the canyon, but it was worth it. It's 3 minutes until my must turn around time, so yeah, this is it. Very hard to pull myself away, but it took me over 4 hours to get here, and I have 4.5 to get back, so I'll just try and hurry back. Won't document too much, just get back to camp, because every meter that I've covered to this point, I now have to undo. Oh! Goodbye, Devil's Crater. Sorry we didn't get to meet properly. I'll be back someday, I hope. Had some water and a snack, some ibuprofen for my knees, and it's time to trudge on back. If it felt good to kick up my feet in the hammock yesterday, it's gonna be amazing tonight. Back to the lake. That's one leg down. That's 2 legs down. That is a sight for sore eyes. Oh. What a sweet relief to be back in the canoe. I can hardly believe it, but I got back to the canoe in 1 hour and 40 minutes. It took me 2.5 times longer to do it on the way there. But that's the benefit of knowledge. So yeah, I am happy. It gives me a little daylight to work with and relax with. Changed my shoes, which feels amazing, and wanted tea right away. Nice hot tea and some mac and cheese is what it felt like. Should probably have something more nourishing after a day like that, but that's what I'm in the mood for. And the party's not over yet. Tomorrow I gotta retrace my steps, but I get to go down the rapids this time, which will be a lot more fun. And I passed a spot on the Gull River that I think will be an amazing campsite tomorrow. Curious red squirrel. Oh. Oh, when I got here I wanted to get in the hammock, but I thought I would fall asleep and wake up in the dark, so I didn't, but now it's time. What a day. As tingly endorphins flowed in the hammock, it felt like the trip's obstacles were in the rearview mirror, but a bit of trouble was still ahead. I've left my car in the bush for many hundreds of days, and I worry about it frequently. However, history has shown that anxiety to be unwarranted. But if you keep testing your luck, it will eventually run out. For now, I was blissfully unaware of the nasty surprise awaiting me at the finish line. It is a frosty one to start day 6. Got the fire going lickety split. Just poured a coffee, and the sun will be rising any minute. Close to 11. It was just too cold for this business until, well, it still is, but I'm about to come into the sunlight. No morning sun. Not good on cold mornings. I'm back to the bony section of the creek, so there's gonna be some wading and then a bunch of beaver dams and log jams back to Pantagruel Lake. And then the fun begins once I get back to the Gull River. Back to Pensacola Lake. Hard part's done. Back to the creek. 3 sections left to wade. There it is. Final obstruction. Gull River ahead and some runnable white water. Pretty much all class 1. Some of it fairly technical, but not too difficult. And here comes the fun part. It's going to be crazy how fast I'll get down these, compared to how long it took me to get up. There's a nice little channel here. It's fairly bony, but there is a channel. That 30 seconds probably took closer to 10 minutes going up. This is lovely. Just need a decent outlet here. There we go. Yeah, all good. Just like the hike yesterday, this all took a fraction of the time, knowing the obstacles, having already cleared some stuff, and running down these easy rapids instead of going up them. Getting the pliers out too, keeping them ready in case they're needed, so the fish isn't waiting, because I didn't take any casts on the way up, and this is one of the better pools I saw, and it's where my target campsite is, just over there. I think there's going to be a fantastic spot. Surprisingly no action there, but shallower than I thought. But I've got a good meal left in the barrel for dinner anyway, and this stunning view to close out the trip. Just what I was hoping for. I hadn't scouted this, but I just glanced over and thought it'd be great on the way out. It's perfect. And then there's a cool rock, a little bouldery wall there with the rapid beside it. So yeah, this is a pretty special spot. Carved out a nice little spot here high on the bank. And here's the view. What a slice of paradise. Fire's going, dinner on the way, and it's supposed to be clear this evening, so hopefully a little stargazing before the moon rises around 9:45. This is heavenly. All packed up here for day 7. Beautiful stargazing last night. Bit of aurora glow, but it's not that visible to the naked eye. It's more like just dusk is what it looks like. Anyway, I've got about half a dozen rapids left. Should be a great day. I'm glad I finally got to give poling a try. I have no skill with it, and it obviously requires a lot more practice, but fundamentally I don't love it. I don't love standing and having a high center of gravity in a canoe, especially in rapids. I could see maybe using it if I'm on like a long straight water course with a swift current. I could pull up the sides where there's like a slack current, but weaving through rapids, no, I don't think that's something I'm gonna do. Not to mention carrying a 10-foot pole around on portages when they become inevitable and throughout a canoe trip. I don't think so. So limited application for me. You can also pull downstream. It's called snubbing, and you sort of stifle the canoe by pushing in front of you and turning that way, but nah, I'll use a paddle. But good to try it. Okay, went to the last 3 rapids. Right after this one is the waterfall, so don't want to mess this one up. I think it should be hard to mess it up that catastrophically. Waterfall. Okay, back to the waterfall where I started. Lovely spot to bookend the trip. Incredible scenery throughout this one. The Devil's Crater most of all. And even though it wasn't the perspective that I planned to have of it, I couldn't imagine anything better. So hopefully someday I'll get to see it from ground level, but I'm content for now. Time to get out of here. Seems like rain's on the way, but love that trip. It was awesome. This isn't what you want to see when you get back to your car. I do keep a little compressor. Let's see if that'll do it. And there's a spare in there, of course. Got to be prepared in places like this. Well, that wasn't going anywhere, and then I turned it off and heard a hiss. Does that look like someone stabbed it to you? Anyway, spare tire's gonna have to go on. I always worry about my car on trips. In hundreds of days so far, nothing has happened. And I've also never had a flat before, so I've had pretty good luck. I'm realizing this had to have been malicious. Like, it's right there, so someone just goes like that, right? And it's a severe leak, so I would have noticed it. Like, there's no way it just happened in the last stretch here. So sometimes I set up even a trail cam to monitor my car while I'm away, if there's like a hidden spot to do it, but there wasn't a great spot here where it wouldn't be obvious. I did set it up back there at the start of the trail just to see if any wildlife came along. So I'll be interested to have a look at that footage, but I wish I had it on my car. Well, I'm really screwed now. As I was taking the tire off, the jack sunk in and now is at an angle. Because the ground is soft, as this stopped supporting the car, that just sunk. I'm gonna try cutting some logs here. In the car I keep a decent sized saw. I'll cut some of these off, some of these pieces, put them under the frame, try and undo the jack, and hopefully that'll hold up the car so I can reposition the jack. So I cut off a round, put it underneath along with a couple of logs here because it's a forestry cut with slash piles, but they're a bit rotten. Anyway, I'll see if I can remove the jack, and if it sits on those logs that'd be good, but if it crushes the logs it could do damage to the car, the muffler, so I don't know. Not a good situation. I've got my SATCOM here, so if, you know, my hand got pinned or something, I'm not in a 127-hour situation, I can hit the SOS button. But Erin also knows where I'm at. I've been messaging her. But, you know, I just really don't like this, because if something falls, this tire goes flying out because it's the nuts are off of it. Who knows what could happen. So I think I'm just screwed and gonna have to get a professional in here with some equipment and expertise. Sometimes people ask, how do you just leave your car in the bush? What if people break into it, steal it, damage it, or even bears can break into them? Well, that's a risk you take, but yeah, hundreds of days have done this, and this is the first incident that I've had. I'm virtually certain it was slashed. Someone stuck their knife in it. But yeah, I'll ask the people at the tire shop to get their opinion on that. There's no signal out here, so I've been messaging with Erin on the SATCOM, and looks like she's gonna come pick me up, and then we'll figure out a tow from home. I just hope nothing's getting damaged, because this tire is like supporting part of the weight of the car, and it's jacked on an angle. All because of someone's malicious little stunt. I'm really hoping something will turn up on the trail cam. Funny enough, a family just showed up to hike the falls, and they offered to drive me out, but I think it'll make more sense to get Erin here because I just have so much stuff to extract anyway. But nice to have someone show up in a moment like this. So I guess the takeaway is that if you're ever using a jack on soil, put some sort of like 2x4, something like that, under it to snowshoe the weight across. I don't know what I would have used for that, but anyway, learned something. Okay, I've got a second shot here. Managed to get the jack out. It's resting on these logs now. Got this off of a poplar to snowshoe the weight. Be careful. Do not trust the logs. Okay, let's see if we can get it back up. Maybe. Yep, it's off the log. Wow. Maybe I've done it. Maybe I've done it. Or maybe I'm going to make everything much worse. Yeah, baby! I may have just done it. Assuming that nothing was damaged while it was slumped down on the wheel. Oh my goodness. Please, please, please. Okay, time for a test. Yeah, I'm a man, so what? No, handiness is not my forte. I don't feel proud of myself too often, but I feel pretty proud. And relieved immensely. I was not looking forward to the tow bill. Just gave the nuts a little extra tighten. I hope they're good. I'll check them again soon after I start driving. Load up here. I learned something. I hope you did too. And we'll see if there's anything on the trail cam. I'm almost back to the main road where at least if I needed some sort of service, it'd be more easy to get. If any of you have needed a tow in, the middle of nowhere on a back forestry road or something like that, I would love to know your experience so I can have a bit more knowledge if I ever run into this again. I imagine they don't like coming back in places like this. So a few weeks have passed, and let me catch you up on the trail cam situation. I wish I had it set up on my car, obviously, but like I said, if I had put it on the trees right beside my car,
it would have been really obvious to anyone doing anything nefarious. I also try and avoid swaying brush that will set it off with false triggers. So I put it where I put it, mostly just to catch wildlife using that portage that took me to the waterfall. That was all I really hoped for. After all these hundreds of days of never having anything happen to my car, I really wasn't expecting anyone to do anything. So my car was just about 10 meters off the frame of the trail cam. And surprisingly, I actually had four groups of people come through over the week. I expected, just wildlife. But evidently locals like to fish this spot. And chances are one of them did it. If anyone came to that spot, it's to use the falls to fish there or hunt there. And yeah, almost certainly one of them did it, but I can't prove anything. I can say one of these four groups may have done it to the cops, but it would just be a witch hunt. I'm not going to show that footage either for the same reason. It's not fair to the people who probably didn't do it. So yeah, all I can do is kind of move on. When I got to the tire shop, got the new tire on, and I asked them in their opinion if that seemed like someone knifed it, and they said yeah, for sure, what else could it be? And then ironically, about a week later, I got another flat after all these years of never having one, and unrelated, different tire, different location. So at least I'm now proficient in that. I've always been a little scared that I didn't know how to deal with this flat, so at least that's clear now. Oh, here's Erin, she just got home. Anyway, what really shocked me about it is not what happened, but where it happened. Usually, there's a bit of a code in the bush. You help each other out. I really can't imagine the type of person that would do this to someone else out there. Maybe I didn't have a spare. Maybe I didn't have a SATCOM device. Anyway, I learned something. I hope you did too. And just moving on. What else can you do? Hey, hon. Just behind me, you might have noticed our giant woodshed, which Erin's been filling up. Winter has arrived. This is a good feeling.